Hello, welcome. So today we're going to be looking at some r/Am I the Devil? Got a few good stories here by the looks of it today, so if that's something that sounds interesting to you, then stick around and enjoy. And don't forget to like and subscribe, please. Thank you. So first off, the original post that I saved, there was a post before that someone had then shared into r/best of Redditor update. So that's what we're reading here if it looks weirdly formatted at the start to you. Basically says man cheats on his wife and his daughters hate him for it. So this was the original post and it was shared in relationship advice. So the original post, November 6th, 2021. I know I'm going to get a lot of shite for this absurd age gap and the way we started, and I agree and I deserve it, but I would really like some genuine advice past going to counselling. She won't agree and I can't afford it anyways. Tangible things that I can work on and introduce to help us get this either as a couple or as effective co-parents. Okay, what's the age gap? Are we going to share the age gap? I'm concerned. I don't think it says. That's annoying. Long story short, my ex-wife and I were together since middle school. We have 4 daughters in their teens. I was a stay-at-home dad and a part-time worker for most of my life until my youngest was in middle school. My ex agreed to invest in a passion project business of mine. I hired a receptionist. We started an affair and she baby trapped me. Oh, don't start playing victim already. You had an affair. You disgusting poo. Now we're living together and have a young son. She resented me because she feels like she was fooled. She saw me as a business owner who had a nice car, nice clothes, took her to nice places, etc., when actually it was wifey paying for all this crap, I imagine. She thought I was rich, so she got pregnant on purpose. On purpose, okay. Admitted it, not an assumption. Okay. Hoping to use me to not work and sponsor her family from overseas. Well, actually, my ex-wife and her family are the rich ones. None of our homes were in our names. We were renting from her parents and giving them a nominal fee with expectation that these homes would be left to my ex and me after their death. This allowed my ex's salary, 150k, not huge in the high coal area, to stretch, and we lived a really good life. I left our marriage with half our savings. You shouldn't have got anything, personally, if you ask me. 25k and my personal property and car. I lost my business due to lack of funding and I did not seek alimony. Good, because she wouldn't have deserved it. I resent her because I feel I was fooled. I thought she loved me and couldn't believe the interest a young, hot woman showed me. Oh, boo-hoo, you poor little victim. Twat. She was incredibly persistent and pursued me strongly, but she has no feelings for me, no care or desire. Now that the ruse is dropped, I can't believe I gave up my entire life for what I see was an ego trip. I loved my ex-wife, really I did, and still do. X to doubt. But I had never been with another woman, and any attempts to open our relationship were shot down. This was like a wet dream come true, and I was weak. Oh my God. I hate this man. I hate him. I can't stand him. What a weak little worm. Not only is he a cheater, but he feels like everyone should feel sorry for him, and he's the little victim. He can't even make his own way in life. His wife had to pay for him. What a weak, wormy worm. Now both me and my girlfriend are in a place we didn't imagine. She's living in a crappy apartment with an old man and still has to work. Oh no. I've lost my kids, the love of my life, my family, my lifestyle, my business, and it's all 100% my own fault. She stopped being intimate with me as soon as she found out I wasn't rich. We're still together on my end because I feel like I need to have something to show for this shite show of a situation. Oh, karma got you good, didn't it, my boy? At least I got a son and a partner out of it. At least it wasn't for nothing. And also because I don't trust her with our son. She would never agree to give me full custody, and she's not a good mother. I would be worried for his safety and the people she would have around him. I honestly don't know why she hasn't left me from her end. What can I do to improve this situation? I know logically it would be best to break up and co-parent, but I'm afraid for my son and I'm embarrassed for myself. Is there any way to salvage this situation? I'm thinking of just telling her we can have an open relationship. She can sleep with whoever she wants and go wherever she wants as long as she lives here, so I can have my son 100% of the time. I work from home. I don't know if that's the answer here though. Honestly, this guy is really reaping what he has sown, and I'm here for it so bad. I know we shouldn't prey on others' downfall, and that's naughty, and I promise I will slap my wrist for it, but when it's a gross, dirty cheater, it's kind of hard not to. First update, November 14th, 2021. I had an affair, my ex-wife divorced me, and my kids absolutely refused to speak to me. I was an incredibly involved dad. Most of their lives, I worked 1 to 2 days a week and then stayed home with them the rest. I was closer to them than their mum, and I'd like to think I've never disappointed them before this. I made a mistake. It's been over 2 years since it all came out, and I haven't been able to make any headway. My eldest is hung up on the fact that I now have a young son. Every firstborn of each generation in my family has been a boy for a long time, and she broke the streak. I honestly could not care less about that. Why does she know about that then if you don't care? Like, why is that a problem for your daughter? Makes me think you've really made sure she knows how she broke this streak and really drummed it into her that it's her fault. Why would she feel insecure about that otherwise? I honestly could not care less about that. I've always thought that pressure was stupid, and I'm not a traditionally masculine guy that always wanted a boy. But I still feel like OP must have been bringing it up a lot because, again, why the friggin' hell does the daughter know then? But she's so hurt that I have a son and is convinced that that's all I ever wanted, and he's replaced her and my daughters. None of that is true. All of my girls said that they don't consider themselves to have a brother and want nothing to do with him. I think that's quite natural for them to feel that way. Dad went and, swung his sausage about recklessly, and they are now the ones that have to reap the consequences of it. Put yourself in their shoes, OP. What on earth would you be thinking? Nothing good, clearly. I feel like I'm extra salty reading this one today because I've just done another recording when I was reading about just shite box exes. And I'm so over them. I do apologize, kind of, because this guy is a piece of shit, so, All 4 of them feel betrayed and blame me for breaking up our family. I deserve the blame. It's my fault and I take responsibility. But I can't change the past and I don't know how I can begin making up for it. My ex has full custody of them, but I'm supposed to have visitation 1 weekend a month. They're all in therapy, and it was suggested to not enforce the visitation and respect their boundaries while they work through it. I've done that the entire time, and there's no progress made. Does anyone have any suggestions about what I can do here? My ex absolutely hates me, but was always supportive of the girls staying in contact with me. She respected their wishes, but still gives me updates once in a while. My eldest is turning 18 soon and graduating this coming year, and probably moving away for university. I feel like the time to make up with her, especially, is slipping away. I know I'm the shitty person here. I was a terrible husband, but I was honestly a really good dad and I miss my girls. Has anyone been through something like this? How did it turn out? What are your suggestions? I can totally understand why his girls wouldn't want anything to do with him from their perspective. He has royally effed their family. He has just basically thrown in a grenade and walked off in their eyes. Whether he was a good dad or not, I can't say, because obviously none of us have actually seen that, and this guy quite clearly is a big fat liar for the fact that he was having an affair whilst his wife was working to provide everything, But it's just like, even if he was a really good dad, that almost would probably make it worse for his girls, because one minute they're idolizing this man, thinking that he's the best thing ever, he's their dad, he can't do anything wrong, and then he goes and shows them that that is so entirely incorrect, and their worldview is twisted completely. So it's not surprising they are having a real hard time just reconciling with what's happened. So in the comments that were in the original post, they've been shared here in the Best of Redditor Updates post, a user asks OP if he fought for custody. OP, I did fight for custody, but they were all old enough that the court considered their preference and the situation and only granted me visitation. A part of that was also because I didn't have the means to get a place large enough for all 4 girls, my son, my girlfriend, and myself. I still don't have room for them in my current apartment, and being a mostly stay-at-home dad did not give me the experience, education, to get a good enough job to support them from here. If I had the choice, I would have chosen my ex and family over my affair partner. User asks OP if his affair partner is his son's mother. OP, she is. I got baby trapped during the affair, something she admitted, which I know makes this much worse. I think I could have maintained a relationship with my girls even after the divorce if I didn't have to stay with my affair partner and didn't have a new baby. User tells OP that he abandoned his family for a girl half his age, so he couldn't expect them to want anything to do with them. OP, I didn't abandon them. I didn't leave my family for my girlfriend. You did abandon them though. The minute you started to decide to put your nib in some other bird, you abandoned your family because you know the consequences of cheating if you're found out. You're a big grown boy, you're not stupid. So you chose in that moment to gamble with your family, and guess what? You lost, and it's your fault. I wanted to stay with my girls and my ex and work this out. My ex refused because the girls already knew about the affair and it wouldn't be setting a good example, and there was going to be another child involved that she wanted nothing to do with. But to be clear, I would have stayed with my family after the affair if given the choice. The affair was a stupid mistake born out of curiosity, since my ex was the only woman I've ever been with. I'd never ever buy this whole spiel of it was a mistake. Oh, so you tripped and fell into her? I don't think you did. You had to make a cognitive choice of going, I'm married, and this may end up disastrously if I do this. You would have had those thoughts. It's not a mistake. A mistake is falling over the curb when you're out walking, and I'm absolutely not saying that because I did that this morning. No, I totally didn't trip up the curb because I was tired and wasn't watching where I was going. That's a mistake. Dropping your cup of coffee, burning your pizza, flaming, I don't know, accidentally hammering through a pipe in the wall. Those are mistakes. Sticking it in some random woman who's not your wife is not a mistake. That is a choice, my friend. It was not something I was committed to or wanted to continue long term. User asks OP if he and his ex had a conversation about exploring their sexuality and why he sought the affair. OP, I brought this up before and we did have an honest conversation about it. We've been together since middle school and had been each other's first and only. She loved that. She had no curiosity about other people and thought it was special that we'd only had S with each other. That she is a very monogamous person, in general, couldn't even handle the thought of me being with someone else. If I wanted to be with someone else, it would have to be as a single man. Yeah, so you even had a discussion of how your wife would feel. You knew it would absolutely break her if you went with someone else, and you did it anyway? I didn't seek an affair. My girlfriend pursued me strongly and it just happened. Bullshit. She got pregnant quite early into it. I didn't really plan on anything. Top response for this comment. Just happened, huh? You accidentally fell into her vagina? That's what I'm saying! Like, these things aren't an accident. My dentist just rang me in the middle of recording that, so I have no idea where I got to. I think I got to here. So the user asks OP, why won't he not separate from his affair partner? OP, I have to stay with her because she's a bad mother and I don't trust her with our son. If we split up, then she would have him at least 50% of the time. I would have left a long time ago if not for that. I mean, not necessarily. If you can prove she's a bad mum, then the courts are going to side with you if you are indeed a good dad. I think OP needs to look into that a little bit more, because if she's genuinely a bad mum, then OP would be able to collect evidence for this easy enough and then take that to the courts, surely. And I mean, I know that historically courts have sided with mothers over fathers. Believe me, I've seen some of the worst mothers get custody over the fathers. Even here in the UK, I don't know where this person is, but the tables are slowly turning, and I have seen more and more cases where fathers are being granted custody. I saw one just the other day, actually, on TikTok, where this dad had been fighting for custody. The mother was, historically well known for being on drugs, was known by the police, blah, blah, blah. This was in the UK, by the way. And they were saying he'd won custody of both of his children, full custody. She wasn't allowed anything to do because she had been deemed an unfit parent. Because he had bided his time and collected the evidence, he'd not kicked off and things like that, and he'd really just knuckled down. And again, I know it's hard, and I know historically family courts have sided with mothers, but hopefully the tables are turning and it's getting to the point where it's going to be, no, we're going to side with whoever is the better option. Because I don't see anything wrong with kids living with their fathers full time if their dad is the better option. I lived with my dad when I was a kid, like full time, because my dad was the better option for me, and I was quite happy, and my dad's a really good dad. He always has been and always will be. Even as an adult, if I messaged and said, I am in a pickle, can you come help me? I know he would, despite the fact he lives like over an hour away now, which I know is really small in some different countries. Like, you're going to listen to me say that and be like, an hour? Is that it? But in the UK, that's ages away. Anyway, second update, January 26th, 2022. Good news. My girlfriend and I have broken up. That sounds like such a weird sentence, isn't it? Great news, we broke up. She has gone back to her home country and left my son with me. Refused to sign any formal custody agreement, so I'm hoping she stays there and doesn't bother us again. I'm pretty sure if she comes back and demands time with him, I have a good case for maintaining custody. Yeah, if she abandoned him to go to a different country, I'm pretty sure you would have a pretty decent case. She's not even interested in FaceTiming with him, so he remembers her. That's so sad, that poor little guy. I feel bad that my son will deal with a crappy absent mother, but I hope I can get him into therapy as he grows. Bad news, I've tried my best to insist on visitation with my daughters, and that has fallen through. They absolutely refuse to see me. They wrote me a letter together that says how much they hate me, how betrayed they feel, how they'll never forgive me, and how my son will never be their brother. To not even bother telling him about them because they'll never be interested in knowing him. Just to forget about them altogether and move on with my new family. I have no legal recourse. The youngest is 13 now, old enough to have a say in custody agreements, and I don't think forcing them to see me would do me any favours long term anyways. Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, it is sad for the daughters, because no matter what the OP has done, parenting and your marriage or relationship, they're two separate things. So I definitely think that the OP is a disgusting human being for cheating on their wife, but that doesn't make them a terrible parent, in the long run. I know it's bad because they did put this over their family. However, I do think as far as parenting's concerned, because obviously it's important for the kids to have both their parents in their lives where possible, I do think you kind of have to put that behind you and keep it as a separate issue, if that makes sense. A relationship with your parent is important, even if the parent has gone and cheated on their wife and broke the family up in that way. It's still important to try and maintain a relationship with that parent. I don't know if I'm making sense in what I'm saying, but I feel like maybe I might be. So yeah, I feel like even though the OP was a piece of shit for doing what they did, they shouldn't be kept away from the kids. And but the thing is, if the kids are old enough to choose, the only thing the OP can do now is leave the door open. Leave the door open, have humility and realize that you fucked up and it's your problem, and hope that one day they decide that they want to work on the relationship. You can't force it though. And until that day comes, it's tough. The youngest is 13 now, old enough to have a say in a custody arrangements, and I don't think forcing them to see me would do any favours long term anyways. Yeah, exactly. Forcing it will only push them further away. You've just got to be patient. You've just got to make sure that you are leaving the door open and that you are prepared to grovel should the day come that they decide they want to come back, because the girls didn't ask for any of this. The girls are innocent in all this, and you ripped the frigging carpet from underneath them, you know? They also included pictures of their mother's wedding. My ex has no obligation to tell me about her personal life, but I'm pretty pissed that there's a man living with my daughters that I didn't know about. I can understand that. Me and my exes have, you know, an agreement that any new girlfriends or boyfriends, the other person will know about them before the kids meet them. Because it's courteous, isn't it, really? And I think as a parent, you do kind of want to know who's going to be around your kids. So I do get that. I am unsure on what right OP really has to say that, though, after all that they did. But not my monkeys, not my circus, and it's not my place to say. Other people's family arrangements are very personal, and it's really not my place to say. It's a family friend that has been in their lives for 10 plus years, so not a total stranger. Well, okay, well, there you go then. But still hurts to see pictures of their recent wedding and family pictures with my daughters. They mention that they have a father figure and don't need me anyways. Ouch. The whole thing really hurt. I know I have no right to feel hurt that my ex has moved on when I cheated on her. No, you don't. But their whole relationship has moved very fast, so I'm wondering if they started it before we got divorced. No, I'll tell you what's happened. This family friend that they've been friends with for years has probably been there for wifey, and wifey has gone, do you know what? I actually kind of like you, and I've been with this bag of poo for so long. Time for me to be happy. So, no, I don't think wifey's been flaming doing something before you got divorced. No way to know now, doesn't matter anyways, and then even if she did before you got divorced, you were separated for a while before you got divorced, and if she wanted to go with someone then, well, that's her prerogative. You still weren't together. The divorce is just tying up the legal ends, isn't it? My ex agreed to keep me up to date and send pictures of my daughters once in a while. After dealing with my son's mum, I am grateful she is so good to our girls and I don't have to worry about their well-being. I'm trying to focus on being a good dad to my son and patiently waiting for my girls to grow up and reach out. It may never happen, but I'm hopeful that they will understand me more as they become adults and gain context for life. Top comment on this post: man ruined his whole life to get his D wet for 5 minutes. Literally. That's why I use the analogy of he basically like threw a grenade and shut the door and went off. Like he literally did just completely nuke his whole life for a little bit of fanny. Like, my friend, what is wrong with you? Okay, so we have an update, and we also now know the OP's age. So the OP is 42M, and the daughters are between 13 and 19. So if he's 42, the girlfriend was half his age, and it says here that it's been several years since his last post. I am very, very disgusted, because if we can take from that top line, OP was about 39, 38 when this happened. Girlfriend was half his age. In OP's own words in the previous post, that means that the girlfriend would have been around 19, early 20s, maybe even a little bit younger. That's fucking disgusting. What a dirty, dirty, gross human being. Not only did he blow up his whole family dynamic, he did it for someone who is barely legal. Like, what is wrong with him? Anyway, that's just me working it out in my head. I might have worked that out wrong, but still, it sounds pretty disgusting, doesn't it, in that context? So let's read the post. I have been away for several years. You may have heard my story, so I won't bore you with any of the details. I deleted my old account because I was too embarrassed to ever come back to it. I've seen a few times lately where they've deleted the previous accounts. I'm wondering if they're trying to hide evidence of their past discretions. I took the advice I was given. I left my daughters alone and have not heard from them since, which is understandable. I did finally get myself into therapy and I realised what a gross piece of crap I was to the 5 most important people in the world to me at the time. I am glad you've come to that conclusion because, my goodness, I came to the conclusion that I needed to accept the fact that they were simply gone. 7 months after their final contact, I wrote my ex-wife an email saying that I did not want any further updates on their lives and that I would never contact any of them ever again, for friggin' hell's sake! No! No. You leave the door open. You ask for the update so that you can show when they are older and maybe go, do you know what? Maybe we should try and have a relationship with dad. You can show that you still cared. You've basically, in their eyes, solidified that you don't give an F about them. Calm down. Calm down. She agreed and stopped sending me emails shortly after. I'm so stressed right now with this guy. It was painful for a long while, and I thought I'd just punish myself forever. I agreed with the general conclusion of the commenters that I am a narcissist. And in retrospect, I probably had no business being a father. Yeah, I mean, he was very much like, I am the victim when he did the worst things ever to his marriage and tried to play the victim. I began to read books more often in an effort to gain perspective in between taking care of my son and doing the best I could to make sure I appreciated how horrible I was and probably still am. 5 months ago, one of the regulars at my place of business took an interest in me and asked for my number. I was pretty wary, for obvious reasons, but I agreed, knowing how prone I am to being an utter cunt. I love that word. I use it for the people I dislike the most. To everyone I care about. I was pretty upfront with her that I had cheated on my ex-wife and had no contact with my former family. I figured that that would kill her interest, but surprisingly not. Red flag! Red flag! If that didn't kill her interest in you, red flag! She did end up interrogating me pretty harshly over it, which I let her do because I definitely needed to be dressed down over it by someone besides my therapist. If I ever met a guy and I really fell for him and then he turned around and said to me that he has nothing to do with his kids, that he cheated on his ex, that he has a kid that was born of an affair, I am running in the opposite direction. Running, leaving the country, changing my name, don't talk to me again. Like, I will never understand women or men that will get with women or men that have done this kind of crap. Like, give your heads a wobble. Are you that desperate for someone to be with you? What the hell? So now she and her 7-year-old daughter, she was widowed 3 years ago, are with me in their house with my son, and we seem to be tentatively forming a new family. I am very paranoid about something going wrong, so whenever I'm not working, I always go straight to their place or mine and ask her to come over. I like to think I have learned my lessons, but many on here said to me cheaters usually relapse. Yeah, they do. And this is why I wouldn't touch one with a 10-foot barge pole. I wouldn't touch one with a borrowed one. I have had zero desire to do so, but can a person truly change like that? It's not a good sign that the OP is questioning their own moral compass still. Oh god, I hope so. I will not cheat on her, I know it, but my past haunts me when I think about it. If my son ever asks me how things came to be, I'll tell him the truth when he's old enough to understand. We may not be a family by blood, but the 4 of us are a family, and I will always be there for both of my kids. Don't you think that OP sounds like one of those people that just hops from one thing to the next in pursuit of this epic happiness that they're never gonna find? They always think the grass is greener on the other side. Like, I'm getting those vibes off of them right now. And I just think that this happiness and this, oh, we are a family, oh, we're doing great, it'll be temporary. And then OP's going to get itchy feet and is going to want to find the greener grass again. One thing that bothers me is how detached I feel from my previous family. I can honestly say I don't love any of my former daughters anymore, and they obviously don't love me. What the fuck? And that's fine. I feel completely at peace with it. What? If any of my kids said that they don't love me and they don't want to know me and they think I'm a horrible person, I would honestly, I would need checking into a facility because I would just feel that absolutely abhorrent. My son, his new sibling, and his new mother are my second chance, and I have embraced it. But what does that say about me? I spent 16 years with them, and in less than 3, I've been able to completely emotionally detach from them. I have made it a point not to use my social media, so they can't see my new life. Mate, I don't think they care about your new life. I do not think they care. And my girlfriend shares my disdain for it. But aside from that, our existence do not affect one another anymore. They have a new father and a role model, and I have a new family. It is done. That's not how this works. That's not how this works. Just because your ex moves on doesn't mean you can just go, well, that was fun. I'm wiping my hands of that. I won't see you guys again, I suppose. I know the daughters have said they don't want to see him, but we have to give the daughters grace because they are kids. They are teenagers, they are kids. They can change their mind, and it is okay for them to feel the way they're feeling because they feel utterly betrayed by the person that presumably, if he was such a great dad, they looked up to. And then he showed them why they were so wrong to do so. He's humiliated them. He's betrayed them. They feel a lot of disdain and a lot of anger right now, which is okay because they are kids. They don't know how to process emotions like that. Those are big adult emotions that they don't know what to do with. And he's just gone and treated them like as if an adult had turned around to him and said, I don't want anything to do with you anymore. And he's just gone, yeah, all right then. See you later. How terrible of a person do you have to be to wipe your hands clean of your kids like that, even if they don't want to see you? If my kids turn around to me and said they don't want to see me anymore, they don't love me, they hate me, whatever, it would absolutely break my heart, and I would always leave the door open for them, you know, and I would try everything I could, as far as I wasn't obviously pushing their boundaries, to get them back, to get them on, you know, to get them to forgive me for whatever I'd done. I would not just wipe my hands of them and go, oh, fun while it lasted, see you later then. What the hell? Anyway, that is all I have to say, Reddit. Now feel free to tell me to F off, since I deserved it. Yeah, and you still do. Let's see what the comments say, shall we? Because I feel like I'm going absolutely cream crackers here. Notto dibsistesto. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry you've been dating this woman for 5 months and her 7-year-old daughter is already living with you, or at least spending serious time at your house. Exactly. And this is what I said. What kind of person are you getting with? If they know what you've done, they know that you have kids that you've just abandoned and gone, yeah, well, F you then. If you don't want to know me, F you. What kind of person gets with someone like that? Someone who will then allow their child to move in with this strange flaming bloke after 5 months and start calling their kids siblings and all this bollocks. What the hell? This is not someone who is acting in the best interest of their kid. Like attracts like, I guess. Enjoy dating a fellow crappy parent. Exactly, nail on the head. I can't agree more with you, my friend. And then DNJ Prod says, and he's calling her his son's new mum. Yeah, bro needs to chill out. Yeah, he really does. This is what I mean. He's literally getting itchy feet and gone, the grass is greener on the other side. He's just hopping to the next, to the next, to the next in a desperate bid to feel like he's got this perfect family and he's wanted and it's fantastic. This guy has got a screw loose. And I'm genuinely concerned for him, because he's going to F up his kids, his life, and everyone else's lives around him. Strong Bottle what 4161 says, you need to calm down with the whole family thing. The relationship is ridiculously new. You're doing the same thing that you did with your ex-girlfriend. You're just rushing into things and not thinking things through. You probably just resent your children because they didn't forgive you, and that's why you don't have those loving parental feelings. You probably think, I was your primary parent and this is what you do to me? Yeah, exactly. He's taking massive offense to the feelings of children who don't understand and don't know how to process big things like this. He's not seeming to understand that he is the adult here. Like, it's beggars belief. I'm so confused by how someone can have these thought processes. Anyway, big massive butthole, what a dick. Next post, please be kind because I feel like I'm losing all of my screws. Am I the butthole for not talking to my son after he disrespected our family by making bad choices? My wife and I, 54M, 51F, have 5 kids. Andy, 19M, Dan, 19M, Rachel, 16F, Liam, 14M, and Abby, 11F. Do you not have a TV? About a year ago, Andy and Dan went off to university and we agreed to pay their tuition as long as they followed our rules. We found out that Andy was going against our rules through a social media post. He didn't realise we followed both of them to keep tabs of them while they were away. Without getting into it, he wasn't living a way we would support, and we couldn't continue to enable his behaviour. Oh no, why do I sense some form of prejudice in here? I don't know why, but it was the way that was worded then. He wasn't living in a way we could support. It's not saying, oh, he was going out getting pissed or something. Why do I feel like Sonny Jim is gay and they are having a big meltdown about it? We were infuriated and I tried to talk to him, but our conversation ended in an argument, and I told him good luck with being on his own. I cut him off financially and stopped any communication with him, as well as making sure my kids did the same. No, that's horrible. Just because he's not living a way that you would live, you're going to stop his siblings from having anything to do with him? You are a bad parent. For a long time, Dan also had no contact with him as we were going to take his tuition if he didn't do as we asked. So you're threatening your other kids' tuition and financial well-being that if they talk to their brother, you will cut them off. Disgusting. He went behind our backs to try getting into contact with him, but couldn't. And it turns out Andy passed away. Dan was devastated and said that we killed his brother and blamed us for it. Oh my goodness. Is that because he passed away from doing something to himself? Do we think? Because just the way that was worded. Oh, that's so sad. He cut us off and told our kids, which we were against as we didn't want to expose them to what happened and turn them against us. All my kids are now saying that I was a horrible dad and ruined their lives, and Abby cries a lot now because she misses her brother. You are a horrible dad. We had put her into therapy to get over it. What the fuck, man? You disgusting piece of crap. Our entire family knows now, and it's a massive split. But my wife's side, who we both avoid, says we're horrible people now, while most of our side says we were well within our rights to do what we did. I feel conflicted since everything is hitting me at once. Was I the butthole for sticking my ground and apparently causing all this? Yes. Simply yes. What kind of father learns that their son has passed and is not even remotely upset? You are the epitome of disgusting. I thought the last guy was bad. You genuinely are going to hell, and I don't even believe in it, but that's where you're going. What on earth? I wish that I had one of those blood pressure machines, because I'd love to take mine right now. I would love to know what it says. I am genuinely fuming. Okay, so down in the comments, Ceramic Savage says, you're not telling us what him living in a way you didn't support consists of. Unless he was doing drugs or committing crimes, it seems a huge overreaction to cut him out of your lives completely down to the siblings. Edited to add, you're the butthole. And Empress says he's trying to say his son was gay without admitting it. That's exactly where I went to, because it said living in a way we don't agree with. And I mean, if the son was like taking loads of drugs, stealing from the family as well, you know damn well OP would have said that to make themselves look like the good guys. You know damn well. So I completely agree with that second commenter, and I feel like that's what this was as well. Or that they were like trans or something like that. Would I be the butthole if I demanded to know who reported me to HR? I am in my early 30s and male. In our office, I am known as a bit of a jokester. Nothing mean, and I don't go out of my way to prank someone or hurt anyone's feelings, but I have plenty of jokes and I give lots of silly nicknames. There is a newer woman in our office and she's in her early 20s, and she has a 3-year-old. They live in an RV park a few miles away from my work, and I've nicknamed her RV Reba. I didn't see the harm, it's just a silly nickname. I've given silly nicknames to most of my co-workers. Okay. Why? If anyone complains about it, I just explain I don't mean anything by it. It's just a silly thing I do, and there was no reason for them to be offended. RV Reba wasn't thrilled with the nickname, said it was insulting, but I explained it wasn't intended to be. It was just something silly I came up with. I mean, if someone tells you that they are insulted by a nickname you've gave them, you stop using it. She asked me to stop using it. I don't use it around her much anymore, but I think it's a silly thing to get upset about, so I still use it around others. You're just a big old bitch then, aren't you? Well, someone reported me to HR. I got called into a meeting this morning and given a written warning to stop harassing my co-workers. I don't see how this is harassing at all. They are silly nicknames. I asked who reported me, and they said it was not just one person, but multiple complaints. RV Reba and a few others were getting coffee, and I wanted to know who reported me. RV Reba said she didn't know what was glad they spoke to me about it, but was glad they spoke to me about it. But I reckon it meant to say but. Since I wasn't listening to them asking me to stop. I think it was probably her and one of her 2 other co-workers who can never take a joke. I want to know exactly who it was though. A few co-workers said I'm already the buttface and should let it go. But I really want to know who reported me. Would I be the buttface if I demanded to know who it was? Yeah. You were in the wrong. She asked you to stop calling her that. Clearly, she's a little bit sensitive over the fact that she lives in an RV. She may not have actually wanted to be in the situation where she's living in an RV. I know some people love it. Some people live in, I think RVs are like camper vans, aren't they? Or something of the like. A little bit bigger than that. Kind of like a tour bus type thing. And I know some people choose to live in them, but some people find themselves living in them because they lost their home. And, you know, have you ever stopped to think that maybe there's a reason that she's sensitive about it? Like, where's your compassion? Like, I'm baffled when people just can't see past their own noses like this. Where is your empathy for this person? They said they don't like it, so cut it out. You're just an a-hole. And then down in the comments, SFB208 says, I think you know you're the butthole. Your jokes aren't amusing to others. This has been explicitly spelled out to you multiple times from the sounds of it. Therefore, you should have already stopped. If there's others that aren't laughing, it's not funny. If it's not funny, it's not a joke. If it's not a joke and you continued the behaviour, it's harassment. Stop it before you quite rightly lose your job. And then Wet Dog 88 says, you can't talk to Harassment Harry like that. Oh my goodness. Oh, Harassment Harry, I love it. Yeah, and I bet he doesn't like that nickname, does he? Well, tough titties, because clearly we just call people whatever the hell we want these days. And thankfully, this is the last post. Am I the butthole for not listening to my daughter's therapist's advice about getting a phone? My daughter, Natalie, is 11F. Her mother, Judy, and I, 36F, 39M, got divorced early last year. Judy had put her in therapy after. I personally didn't think she should have, but the courts allowed it, so I couldn't fight against it. The therapist is supposed to help her manage the divorce and usually tries to get us involved. Yeah, as a family and child therapist would. What's the problem? Today we had a meeting and the therapist said she thinks Natalie should have a phone so that she can contact us when we were at the other person's house. She claims it will help her anxiety if she has a way to talk to both of us any time. Judy and I agreed when she was first born that we were not getting her a phone until she was around 15. Times change, my dude. You've got to be malleable when it comes to kids. But now Judy wants to get her one because the therapist said so. I have stood firm and said Natalie is not getting a phone without my consent. She doesn't need one, and she really needs to learn to accept being away from the other without constantly contacting us. In an emergency, she can use the landline at school to contact us. I don't need her to become a phone addict, and I am against even letting her have a flip phone. Well, then you are just doing it to be an arsehole then, aren't you? Because a flip phone, she's not going to become a phone addict. You can't do chuff all on them. You can't get on the internet. You're just being an a-hole. Judy has been fighting me on it, and the therapist keeps saying I should rethink it. I feel I'm going insane. I thought it was better to not have your kids on phones at a young age. But am I the butthole here? Or are Judy and the therapist being reasonable? Judy and the therapist are being reasonable, hands down, and I can tell you from personal experience, this guy is making such a mountain out of a molehill. My child, around the same age as this one, has a phone because they walk to school on their own now. Now they're in high school, they walk to school on their own. They have a phone so that I can track where they are on their journey there and journey back, and I can keep an eye and make sure they're safe. They also have a phone so that when they're going to their dad's, they can then text me if they want to text me, if they're missing me, and then I can text back, and they don't have to then go through their dad every time they want to talk to me, which is not a problem. I get on really well with their dad, but it just makes it easier and makes them feel more comfortable because they do have a little bit of anxiety. Now they're in high school and everything's go, go, go all the time. Having a phone has been really helpful. And guess what? The great thing about phones these days is you can put controls on them if it's for a child. So there's no WhatsApp on that phone. Safari is very, very limited on what you can get on. I've got it locked to the eyeballs of all of the dodgy websites that I could think of. Not that I think they'd go on them anyway, but just in case. There's no YouTube on it. There's no social media. They don't have social media. There's none of that on there. And the agreement is that I'm allowed to check the phone now and then just to make sure there's nothing on there that I'm not happy with. Because they are a kid. So you can do that as an adult, and then they can have a phone and you've got a fantastic happy medium. I don't see what this guy's problem is. He's just a control freak, isn't he, really? And I and my ex-partner had said when they were little, oh no, we won't do phones till they're older. And now we're at the stage where obviously we got to this stage and we were like, yeah, no, saying no phones till we're older is really unreasonable. Because how can they contact us now they wanted to start to play outside with their friends and go to the park and things like that? How can they contact us if something happened on the school run? It makes sense and there's no harm in it. This guy's just being a butt. And then down in the comments, you're the butthole. I have no idea why your marriage didn't work. None. Zip. Zilch. A mobile phone can be used outside of the home. Natalie can use it to call, not you, her mum in a situation that makes her uncomfortable. Exactly. For an emergency, or heaven flipping forbid, during a school lockdown. Oh, see, we don't really have to worry about that here. I mean, touch wood. But, being in the UK, that thought never has really crossed my mind, to be fair. But yeah, I mean, if these guys are in the US, even more reason to get a phone. Mobile phones are here to stay, Do not come back here whining about why your kid wants nothing to do with you in a couple years when the courts will listen to her. And then Competitive Path 5663 says, not a clue. Honestly, though, this guy is just being awkward for the sake of being awkward. I don't understand. I don't get it. Give her a phone, for God's sake. You can check the flipping thing, It's not like they've got a phone and then you can never know what happens on it. And on that note, we're going to leave it there for today. I have definitely lost some brain cells during reading these, especially the first one. Goodness me. And I hope if you made it all the way to the end that you are also clinging to your sanity. I hope listening to this didn't lose you a few brain cells also. I do apologise if it did. Anyway, if you made it all the way to the end, then I appreciate you a hell of a lot. This one was an effort to get through today, so I really appreciate that. If you want to give me a like and a subscribe, I'd appreciate you even more. Other than that, I'm going to disappear. Goodbye.